hope you got your shitting pants on.
'Cause you are about to shit your pants.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Big Picture. I am Mike Sargent, and you're listening to this program exclusively here on All Western New York News and Radio. Okay, so here's something that we can have a serious discussion about. They say that for anything to be really successful, you have to be real. Well, a lot of times there's content that's done for this show, and it's real, or it's not real. You just never know. But I'm going to disclose it right off the bat. Today's program will be real, and there's some things that I think it's time to bring to the forefront so everybody knows just who I am. If you even care at that point. If you even hear the program. So, let me lay it out to you this way. I'm a big proponent of getting what you pay for. Okay? A very big proponent of it. And recently, I've had some issues with Time Warner, or now known as Spectrum. So, doing speed tests, online to find out what we were actually getting, and we're not getting what we were paying for. Bottom line. So, you call the cable company and you voice a concern or an opinion. And as everybody knows, recently Spectrum is now broadcasting nothing but a digital signal. And your options are, have two converter boxes, so if you have multiple TVs in your house, it works. Or you can get, a device like a Roku TV stick, or have a Time Warner cable app on your computer or whatever, so you can continue to watch the TV programs that you're paying for. So, knowing that there's going to have to be some changes made, we called for a technician to come out, and the technician shows up here one day at like 5:30 in the afternoon, and basically does very little, but tells us that the power company has some type of electromagnetic surge around the ground, the ground wire. Saying getting feedback voltage that's causing interference with our cable signal. Okay, it sounds legitimate. But we never had a problem until everything went to digital. So what I ended up having to do is call the power company, or actually they were very decent about it. They called the power company and told them to come out here and, resolve this issue, which they did. Somebody came out, tested it, said the technician from Spectrum was basically full of shit. So, in the meantime, starting to experience some frustration with the fact that these guys can't seem to get my issue fixed, I called back and reported what the power company found. And now it's setting up another appointment. And I'm in the mindset, okay, look at it like this. I have a job. It's a busy job. And I'm not going to miss time from work on a constant basis because this company could not fix the problem right the first time. So there's a little arguing going on here, a little pissing back and forth about this entire topic. And, finally, we come to a resolution, and this young man came out. He'd been here before, and he resolved our issue, essentially. But there was an upgrade in packaging here. We ended up getting higher megabytes, a faster package, and an extra converter box, which, seems to be working out fairly well, so far. However, I'm not getting that 100 megabyte download on a consistent basis, and it's faster, I guess, but it's not consistent. And that could be because network traffic, I don't know. But here's what I did. I posted the results of a speed test online. And I did that essentially because I'm not very happy with Spectrum. So after doing so, it had been up there for a couple of weeks. Apparently I was being trolled one day by my younger brother, Mark, who works for Spectrum. And he put a, smart-ass comment under the post, not knowing the full story, because here's the reality of it. I see my brother maybe twice a year. That's by his choice. Now, that's arguable. People can disagree with that. Actually, most people wouldn't give a shit to disagree with it. But my brother would probably disagree with that. There's not much of a family relationship there in regards to that. So, one of his comments was, I needed to get my shit together. And of course, I'm not going to be one that sits back and just takes any crap. I responded, with, "This is coming from you. Seriously?" And of course, there's another retort. And my response to him is simple. This all coming from a lying, cheating, thieving piece of garbage like you. Now, granted, he works for Spectrum. Maybe he took this personal. I don't know. I don't know what his motivation is. But, of course, I get the threats of, how he will beat my ass, but he'll arrange for a ride home for me, after he does all this. And a lot of this has to do with, some issues that have taken place in the past, but they're never really resolved. But first off, Mark, you have no idea. No idea whatsoever. I see you a couple of times a year, and you make these comments that you really know nothing about. And because you take something personal, you decide that you want to engage me over it. That's your call. You have a right to do that. But in the meantime, when you're calling me out and basically, trying to attack my business and stating that I am a nutbag and people need to avoid doing business with me because you feel I'm a nutbag, well, that takes things to a whole new level. So let me lay this out to you people. So this is full disclosure. I was criticized for basically asking my brother if he had a personal possession of mine that disappeared from our home when I was about 18, 19 years old. He denied that he had no knowledge of it, no recollection of it whatsoever. Now, these are the truths here, people. This is giving you an inside look into my life. He denies this. Now, I feel very strongly about the fact, knowing that I'm being lied to. Because, and you can call this crazy if you want. He obviously thinks it is. While sleeping one night, and this is a couple of years ago, I had a dream, and my uncle had come to me in that dream. Now, my uncle has been dead for years, since I was a little boy. But this ring was my uncle's, and it was given to me by my mother. It has a personal meaning to me, and it disappeared from my bedroom years ago. Someone did take it. Call me crazy, but my uncle has told me in this dream that it's my brother Mark. This is where Mark will say it's crazy, but I'm going to put it to you this way. I'm not crazy, and I'm generally right. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, I would receive this message. Now, whether you believe in any spiritual connection or anything like that, that's up to you. I do have, some beliefs and things like this, because there's been things I've experienced and there's no explanation. So it's very easy for me to just say, okay, this is why this happened. So because here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. My brother has a friend that lives in Buffalo or Orchard Park, and she is a psychic. And I had the pleasure of meeting this woman. And, she's odd, but she's very nice. And what I learned, and this is out of the, my own brother's, words, she's the real deal, Mike. There's things that she knows, Mike. I've seen her do some incredible things since I've known her. And apparently, my brother's known this woman for years. He must have done her hair at one time when he was a hairdresser. So, meeting this woman and talking to her at this wedding that we were both in attendance, this woman had said to me, you have something that is really on your mind. And she says, I feel that it has to do with you, your brother, and an uncle. And I, had said at that point, and this is before I even said anything to my brother about it. But after I received, the dream, from, the message from my uncle. I'm at my brother's house one day for a birthday party, and I asked one of his children if they ever seen their father with this ring. The child told me he did, and he described it. He had seen the ring. He knew exactly what it looked like by his description. I thanked him, said nothing at that time, but then I asked my brother about it, and he totally denied it. Kind of funny, isn't it? So that warrants him threatening to beat my ass, warrants him to put a post on social media about how I'm crazy and how I'm not the person that, I appear to be, and people should avoid me because I'm such a bad guy. That's pretty funny. Now, here's the thing that, I want to talk about with the posting on social media. My brother actually did come out and say something about the ring itself, which was unusual. But he described the ring on social media. Well, if you hadn't seen that ring in all these years, Mark, how would you know what it looked like? How would you know that it had a Spartan insignia in the stone. How would you know any of this? My brother Mark has always had a aversion to facing responsibility. I could go into some of the stories about his past, some of the things that he has done, but I don't want to discredit the guy and totally rake him over the coals. What I will tell you is he's not a very upstanding individual. When it comes time to deal with responsibility or deal with things that he's responsible for, he's always had a very strong aversion not to do so. And he's gotten away with an awful lot. Another example of the fine character of my brother: when I was a young guy, I had purchased a motorcycle. And it was a Yamaha 920 Virago. It was a major form of transportation for me, and I had always wanted a bike. I didn't pay a lot of money for it by today's standards, but back with the job that I used to have and what I could afford, it was a lot of money to me. So, trying to be a decent brother, I guess, is the way to look at it. I allowed my brother to drive that motorcycle, learn how to ride a bike. He had a permit. So while I would go to work with a car, my brother would, use my motorcycle, constantly running it out of fuel, leaving it there on empty for me. But one of the things he did, he took that motorcycle for a ride with a friend, and they were racing it. He lost control of the bike, put it down through a ditch. The bike was damaged. Flipped over and damaged. Well, when confronted about it, he completely denied it, that he did not do anything to it. That's the character of my brother. Not owning your shit, lying about it, and believe me, karma always comes back and bites people in the ass. So those are just some examples. I don't hate my brother. He is who he is. But I do know this. For anybody that thinks that I am not who I portray to be, if you want to believe that load of garbage, that's cool. But what I've done, basically, in the meantime, I've told my brother to unfriend me. Don't have anything to do with me if I'm such a bad guy, which is really what he wanted in the first place, because of the fact that he knows I know he's lying. And instead of just facing the reality of his action, he would rather disengage and continue to lie about it. It's funny. I'd really like to know what the connection is for my brother with that ring. Why he would not return something that was given to me by my mother to me. And now it's out here in the open on the big picture. So here's the big picture of it. I decided that based on the interaction, my brother taking my dissatisfaction with Spectrum personally, and then wanting to bring to light some of these things, and full well him knowing exactly what the ring looked like. We all have memories, but I'll tell you this. For somebody who never wore the ring, for somebody who doesn't, claims that it hasn't been around since I was 13 years old, all this other crap, you certainly know an awful lot about a ring that belonged to me, Mark. Now here's the problem. He posted all this stuff on Facebook, and all of a sudden, his friends, my friends, people that we don't know started commenting on it. The people that do know me or have worked with me, I think the work stands for itself and people know exactly who I am. Everybody seems to know more about me than my own brother. It's pretty funny. So what I did, sent my brother a private message. And it was basically to tell him anytime he'd like to swap punches, I'm for it. But in the meantime, we're not going to be connected on Facebook anymore. And ultimately, that's because that's what he wants. He doesn't want to deal with the reality of him being a thief, which I can easily forgive him for. But he would rather tell people that I'm crazy than admit the truth and just return something that belongs to me. And then tell me, I'm not going to do this on social media with you, or don't get into this on social media with me. Why not? Why not? You want to take it personal because I have a problem with a company that you work for? And now I call you out for stealing my ring? That's funny, Mark. That's really funny. I will bring a baseball bat, a knife, and I will hand it to you if you're so intent on beating my ass. Because you're going to need it, pal. You think you know everything there is to know about me? Let's certainly not hope it comes to that. All right. There's your truths. There's your inside look at Mike Sargent, who he is. So I can clear it up for you. I'll tell you exactly who I am. I'm a father, a husband, that has given an awful lot to his family and tried to keep my kids from having to suffer the pains that me and my two brothers did when we were growing up. And trust me, that has not been easy. There is a problem here with all this. Outside interference. Grandparents. They've impacted a lot. And these are the very same people that did not really do too good of a job taking care of their own kids. There's issues. We can look past those issues. But I'm going to tell you all something. We're coming up on a year. My son died last year at this time. And I'll tell you why people hate me. Family members hate me. And why they think I'm crazy. Knowing what I knew about my son and his struggles, he decided that he was going to go live with his grandparents, my father and stepmother. I had a conversation with the two of them, explaining to them that he is sick. He has a problem. And at this point, he was going through some legal issues. And apparently, he hadn't used anything in quite some time. Or not quite some time, but a month or so. And I'm letting my parents know that you really need to keep an eye on him if he's going to stay here. Because he will steal from you. He will lie to you to feed his addiction. This is not over. And my stepmother, if you know me, you know who she is. had the nerve to say to me, regarding my own son, well, he's never lied to me, and I believe he's clean. And I believe he's going to stay clean, because he told me that's what he was going to do. My response to that was, okay, well, I hope I'm wrong. But I'm not, and I want you to hear it here first. When he's dead, a year from now, tell me again how he was telling you the truth. Guess what, people? It didn't take very long. Now, regarding my father. My kids meant the world to me, especially as they got older. I had a lot of fears and a lot of worries, just seeing how the world was going. And here's what's really fucked up and really pisses me off. As a kid, growing up, I was called lard ass, fat ass, dumb ass. They might as well just put my last name as ass. But my father wasn't a very good dad. And I'm going to call it out right here. I didn't hate him for it. But he wasn't a great guy. And this is the man that tried to tell me how to raise my son. Or raise my kids. The other thing that plays a significant role in this, he always felt that I was too hard on Wade. I wasn't hard on Wade unless he needed to be spoken with. And he was a very stubborn, difficult child sometimes. A lot of arguments over certain things with Wade. But that's all said and done now. But I still have 2 daughters. And they can hate me all they want. We gave up, my wife and I gave up an awful lot for our kids. Things that we didn't do. But we gave our kids a lot. Everything that we could. And we went without. My daughter decides that she wants to go on a little vacation. She's young. And I worry about it. My father has no problem with her doing any of this. See, my kids moved out of the house. One stays at one set of grandparents. One stays with my father. There was rules. And my daughter did not want to follow the rules. She left. Now where she lives, she has no rules. Nobody, is going to tell her what she is or isn't going to do. But she takes off and goes on this vacation, which I have a very big problem with, based on the fact that, she's an 18-year-old kid. Well, the argument with my father became somewhat heated, and my father told me that the reason my son is dead is on me. It's my fault. So, me being who I am, I told him to go fuck himself, and I haven't spoken to him since. And I won't speak to him. This is from the same guy that had called me fat ass, stupid. One of the things was stupid, idiot, retard, fat ass, lazy ass, piece of shit. And meanwhile, here's a guy that growing up, who worked for General Motors, who had all these insurances, wouldn't even put braces on my teeth. So now you know the truth. And these truths, they'll tell you, go fuck yourself. That's what I've gotten. But there's a lot of people now that were closely related to this, actually see the truths that I had been saying for quite some time. So yeah. Mark, you tell me, I hope you get the therapy you need, because you ain't right. Yeah, I'm not right. but I'm a lot more righter than you are. I don't have to steal things from people. I don't have to lie to people about who I am and what I do. Apparently, it doesn't go that way with you, right? You're a wonderful, upstanding human being. A pillar of your community. It's laughable. So there is a look into my life. I hope you had your shitting pants on. And any member of my family that hears this that doesn't like it, too bad. The old man doesn't care anymore. I'm tired of you entitled, ignorant people trying to tell me how wrong I really am, when everything I've told you people for years has happened. My son died while living in my father's house, where he was allowed to drink beer, to replace one vice with another, because he was too stupid to really understand what the boy needed. But this is the way things go, people. My father always thought he knew more than me, which he did for a long time. And he never understood what it meant to be a father. I did. And I tried to give my son the best of what I could. And I'm going to tell you right now, I gave him a hell of a lot more than I ever got as a kid. I talked to you about my brother wrecking a motorcycle. Do you think my father even got involved with that? Even wanted to make my brother responsible for the damage he did to that bike? No, he didn't. Nothing was said to him. But an incident took place with my brother's car, and my father certainly had something to say about that. To me. Karma. Mark, you can lie, you can cheat, you can try to do a defamation of character on me. That's fine. I don't care. Do what you do best and disassociate yourself from responsibilities, liabilities. It just kind of says something about your character. I could go into a lot more about the crap you've pulled, but I'm not gonna. I think what started to happen on Facebook pretty much said it all. And whether you had an opportunity to read everything that people were saying to you regarding this, it's not going to matter at this point. I screenshotted it. I have it. I know how people felt. And it was too bad that you decided to take a Spectrum internet complaint personal. I could see it if I would have put in there, hey Mark, you and your stupid fucking company are screwing me every month because you're not providing me with the service that I need. And every time I call for a technician to come out here and correct the problem, they don't seem to be able to figure this out. So you guys are really stupid. That didn't happen, did it? It was Spectrum. You really need to get your shit together. You wanted to comment on that. I hope it was worth it. Because the way that I see it right now, I unfriended you. I disconnected you. I blocked you. Because I don't need your crap. You tell me I need to get my shit together? That's funny. You have no idea what I'm capable of doing, what I have done, and what I will continue to do. Good luck with your kids. I hope you never experience the same things I had to. But I'm sure you won't, because remember, you moved away so you didn't have to deal with any of us. Remember that. All right, that's all I got for the big picture this week. Next week, I will tear it up. I will do what I do best, and that's talk a lot of shit. But this week, you got an inside look into my life. God bless. Love your family. Keep them safe. And don't let anybody tell you how to raise your children. I'm out.
What kind of stupid-ass question is that?